Hi, Scrap and Andy here. I wanted to show you the foam sheets that I've been using to make stamps. This is the one that I showed on the last video, and this is the thickness of it. It's by Creatology, and I think I got both of these at Michael's, but I've also gotten some at Joann's. You can actually get some at the $1 store, but it's a lot thinner, so you might have to do 3 or 4 layers if you use the thin foam versus the 2 that I've been using. This is a stamp that I made, and I wanted to give just a few tips in this one. I used a pencil. I've got to quit saying and pressed really hard on all my details, and I have a picture of this on my blog, but I don't have the stamped image right here. And the deeper you press, the more that it'll put those indentations, and this detail actually shows up when I stamp it. Another thing is, this is the one I showed in the last video, and this is how I mounted it onto another piece of foam, same way I did on these. But I got to thinking, I have taken all of my rubber stamps, almost all of them that's on blocks, and used Tack It over and over so that I can use these on my clear box, because I like to be able to see, exactly where I'm stamping. So that is another tip, and it saves you on having to use so much foam if you would want to do that if you're one of those that likes to use the clear blocks. Another thing is, I used this tool. This is the one I did before, and it's just a smooth image, but I wanted to do some texture, and so I used my daughter's polymer clay tool, and I just pressed, really hard, and the foam is really good about keeping the shape. And this is what the painted, it shows better if I use ink, but I just used paint on this one, but it shows up the texture and instead of versus just being the smooth surface when you stamp. And then my last tip is, I sometimes have a hard time when I'm using an X-Acto knife making sure that all the edges are smooth, and I have found out that an emery board, or even your little tool from your distress kit, sandpaper, the fine is usually better, that it is really good about getting those rough edges off so that when you stamp you have a really smooth image. And I think that's all the tips that I wanted to share with you, and then I'm going to do another video to show some of the new stamps that I've actually made. Thanks!